Have you ever watched a 91-year-old woman walk out of her garden carrying a basket of bitter melon, cross a gravel lane, and let herself into a neighbor's kitchen without knocking? No invitation, no plan. She sits down on the floor next to three other women already drinking tea. They've met like this, most weeks for over 40 years. Nobody organized it, nobody named it, and nobody in that village would call what they do a longevity rule. But that village in southern Okinawa sits inside one of the longest-lived populations on Earth. Japan counts more than 90,000 centenarians, and when you look at how they actually live, you don't find a secret. You find rules so ordinary that the people following them don't even know the rules exist. Most Americans assume it comes down to fish and rice. It doesn't. It comes down to 9 things you've never been told, because no one in Okinawa ever thought they were worth mentioning. None of them cost a dime. None require a gym, a doctor, or a day of discipline. And the first one starts at your dinner table tonight. 1. Hara hachi bu. Stop eating when you're 8 parts full. Picture dinner at your house. 1 plate, maybe 2. Big portions. You eat until the plate is empty, because that's how the plate decides when you're done. Now picture a table in Naha, Okinawa, around 7 in the evening. 6 small dishes on a wooden tray, and every one of them would fit in your palm. A little grilled fish, pickled vegetables, miso, rice, something green. The woman eating has never weighed a portion in her life. She just stops before she's full. 8 parts out of 10. That phrase, ha-ra-ha-chi-bu, gets said at tables all over Okinawa the way Americans say, pass the salt. Not a diet, a reflex. 20 minutes into the meal, half the rice is still in the bowl. Nobody is rushing. Nobody is reaching for seconds. Tomorrow night, serve yourself a little less than usual. Eat her. And notice the moment you stop being hungry, because that moment comes well before the plate is empty. They don't eat less because they're trying harder. They eat less because the plate is smaller and the pause is built in. But what happens when you're not at the table? That's where rule number 2 lives, and it doesn't happen in the kitchen at all. 2. Sit on the floor. A woman in Kyoto, 87 years old, pours tea every afternoon on a tatami mat. She kneels at a low table, lifts the teapot with both hands, pours, sets it down, and drinks. When she's done, she stands back up. No armrest, no chair back, no one helping her. She does this maybe 20 times a day. Down and up, down and up. That's not exercise, that's Tuesday. Most of us haven't sat on a floor since grade school. Car seat, desk chair, couch, repeat. An American living room is designed so you never have to bend past 90 degrees. A Japanese room is designed so you bend past 90 degrees every hour. And here's the quiet part. Every time she kneels, her knees flex, her hips open, her ankles hold her weight, and her core does the work that keeps her upright. Nobody is counting reps. Nobody built a program. The floor is the program. When was the last time you sat on the ground and got back up without grabbing onto something? Try it once tomorrow morning. Just once. Sit down. Get back up. That's the whole rule. 3. Show up with something from the garden. Remember that kitchen from the beginning? 4 women. A low table. Tea. Sliced papaya. That 91-year-old you saw crossing the gravel lane. She's been walking into that same kitchen since she was 50. Same women. Same table. Same rule. You show up, you bring something you grew, you sit, and you stay until the teapot is empty. In Okinawa, they call this a moai, a small circle of people who see each other through everything, decade after decade. Not a club, not a support group, not something that requires a sign-up sheet or a meeting room, just a handful of people who decided, a long time ago, that they weren't going to let each other disappear. When one of them stopped coming, the other 3 were at her door by Thursday. You probably know someone you haven't called in a month. Maybe longer. The rule isn't complicated. Show up. Bring something. Stay. That's 3. Number 4 is waiting outside, on the road between your house and the nearest store. 4. Walk to the store. A retired fisherman in a coastal village south of Naha walks to the market 3 mornings a week. Half a mile each way. He carries his groceries home in 2 cloth bags, 1 in each hand. No car, no errand run, just feet on pavement, and the weight of what he bought pulling gently on his shoulders. He's 83. His knees still work. You know what's interesting? Nobody in his village calls that exercise. They call it going to the store. In most American towns, the store is a 5-minute drive. So you drive. And the walk you would have taken, the 20 minutes of movement your legs were expecting, just vanishes from the day. It adds up. 11 hours of sitting a day is the American average. Not because we're lazy, because we built the sitting into the roads. You don't need to walk a mile. Walk to the mailbox the long way. Park at the far end of the lot. Carry the bag instead of rolling it. Japan's centenarians don't log their steps. They just never stopped walking as part of getting things done. The longest-lived people on Earth didn't add exercise to their lives. They never removed the movement that was already there. 5. Cook what you grew. 5 in the morning. A kitchen in rural Nagano. Mountains still dark. A woman in her late 80s pulls radishes from a garden she's kept for 60 years. She washes them at the sink, slices them thin, sets them in a bowl with vinegar and a little salt. By the time her husband wakes up, 6 different vegetables sit on the counter, and every one of them grew within 30 feet of the stove. She doesn't think about nutrition. She doesn't plan meals around a guide. She grows what the season gives, and she cooks what she grows. That's the whole system. The food is fresh because it's close. It's varied because the garden changes every month. And the gardening itself, the kneeling, the pulling, the carrying, keeps her moving in ways a treadmill never could. You don't need a backyard farm. A pot of herbs on a windowsill changes what you put on the plate. Grow one thing, cook it, eat it. That's the rule. So far, every rule we've covered lives around the kitchen table or on foot. The next few don't happen at the table at all. And the 6th one takes 3 minutes. 6. Ragio Taiso. 3 minutes every morning, standing in the open air. 1928. Japan's postal service created a short radio calisthenics program. A few minutes of gentle stretching, set to piano music, and broadcast it every morning across the country. That was almost 100 years ago. The broadcast is still running. The same piano melody. The same simple routine. And every morning, in parks and schoolyards and gravel lots from Osaka to Okinawa, dozens of people show up and move together to a scratchy tune playing from an old loudspeaker. 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, a few who've been doing it since childhood, which means they've done this same 3-minute routine over 25,000 times. Picture it. 6:30 in the morning, a park in Osaka. 40 people standing in the gravel, arms over their heads, following a recording made before most of them were born. 3 minutes later, it's over. They bow, they chat, they go home. Nobody tracks it on an app. Nobody feels virtuous about it. It's just what the morning is. And here's the part worth remembering. Nobody in that park thinks of it as exercise. There's no willpower involved. No motivation. No playlist. They don't try harder than we do. They made the easy thing the healthy thing, and then they just kept showing up. You could stretch for 3 minutes tomorrow morning. In your kitchen. In your yard. You don't need a loudspeaker. You just need 3 minutes, and the willingness to do something small enough that you'll do it again the day after. 7. Fix what breaks. An afternoon in a village kitchen. The same 91-year-old from the opening sits at her low table with a torn cotton sleeve and a needle. Her hands, the same ones that grip a teapot every afternoon and carry a basket across the lane every week, thread the needle on the second try. She patches the sleeve, folds it, puts it back in the drawer. In her house, a broken sandal gets new straps. A cracked pot gets a careful mend. A screen door that sticks gets sanded down by hand. Nothing leaves the house until it truly can't be saved. This isn't frugality for its own sake. Look at what happens when you fix something. Your hands work. Your mind solves a small problem. You kneel on the floor again. You reach, grip, measure, cut. Every repair is a dozen small movements your body would never make sitting in a chair. Meanwhile, most of us throw the broken thing away and order a new one from the couch. And the hands that would have fixed it, they just hold the phone. Next time something small breaks at your house, fix it. Even badly. The act of fixing is the rule, not the result. Everything until now lives in what you do. The last two rules are quieter. They live in how you rest and why you get up. 8. Sleep when the sun goes down. A farmhouse in the countryside south of Nagano, 8 in the evening. The lights are off, not dimmed, off. The couple who live here, both in their mid-80s, unroll their futons on the tatami floor, and by 8:30 they are asleep. No screen, no scroll, no 11 o'clock news. They rose at 5. They worked in the garden, walked to the village, cooked 3 meals, and now the day is finished. The pattern matches the sun. It has for decades. Back home, the average American watches a screen until well past 10, sleeps 6.5 hours, and wakes to an alarm. The contrast isn't moral, it's mechanical. Their day wears them out gently and completely, so sleep isn't a decision. It's what comes next. Japan's rural elders don't have sleep routines. They have days so physical and so finished by dark that the body simply closes. You probably can't go to bed at 8:30, but you can turn the screen off 30 minutes earlier than you did last night. One night, that's the rule. 9. Have a reason to get up. The sun comes through a paper screen in a small house in southern Okinawa. The 91-year-old woman from the opening is already in her garden. She's not exercising. She's checking the bitter melon she planted 3 weeks ago. There's a word for this in Japanese. Ikigai. Your reason to get up in the morning. Not a purpose statement. Not a life goal written on a poster. Something specific. Something that needs you today. Her garden needs water. Her neighbor expects her Thursday. Her great-granddaughter's birthday is next month, and the sweet potatoes won't be ready unless she checks them now. When researchers ask Japanese centenarians what keeps them going, almost none of them talk about workouts or diets. They talk about their garden, their neighbors, the thing that needs doing. Which tells you something no fitness book ever will. The body follows the life, not the other way around. You don't need a Japanese garden. You need one thing tomorrow morning that gets you out of bed, because it matters to you and to somebody else. A neighbor to check on, a plant to water, a grandchild to call. Something small enough to do every day and important enough that the day feels empty without it. That's Ikigai, and it might be the most powerful rule on this list, because it's the one that holds all the others together. 9 rules. Stop eating before you're full. Sit on the floor. Show up for your people. Walk to the store. Cook what you grew. Move for 3 minutes every morning. Fix what breaks. Sleep when the day is done. And find one reason to get up tomorrow. None of them came from a book. None require a membership, a prescription, or a single dollar. They're the ordinary things a culture never stopped doing, while the rest of us quietly designed them out of our lives. And the woman in the garden? You know why she still crosses that gravel lane with a full basket at 91. It was never a mystery. It was a life where nobody removed the walking, the kneeling, the cooking, the fixing, and the showing up. It was Tuesday. And here's the encouraging part. You don't need all 9. Nobody in Okinawa follows a checklist. They just live in a place where the ordinary things still work. Pick one, the smallest one. Start it tomorrow morning. And if it sticks, add another one next week. Which of these rules did your own grandparents follow without ever giving it a name? Tell me in the comments. If one of these made you think of someone you care about, send them this video. And if this was worth your time, The like button tells me to make more like it. Next time, we're stepping into a kitchen in Sardinia, where a 100-year-old man still makes his own bread every morning. If you want that one, subscribe. It's early morning in Okinawa. The gravel lane is quiet, a screen door opens, and a 91-year-old woman walks out into her garden, because the bitter melon isn't going to check itself.